Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. There is 1 week left in the transfer window for Celtic to complete any business they feel necessary. I think there is necessary business to be done. I think there's still a couple of names we could add to the squad in the aim of making it the best it can be to challenge for the league title, to challenge in Europe this season, but time is now limited. We're hearing rumour after rumour after rumour. God knows I've been talking about them on this channel, but it's now the last week to get things done, and hopefully Don Mackay is ready to bring another couple of faces through the door. Before we go any further with the video, please make sure to check out the top line of the description and download the OneFootball app. OneFootball is the best app on the App Store to keep up with everything football related this season, whether it be Celtic, whether it be in England, whether it be anywhere in the world. You can find out what you need from this app. Live scores, news stories, transfer updates, everything all in the one place. It's a fantastic app. Use my link in the top line of the description to help out me and the channel sponsor. So as we said in the intro to the video, there's a week to go now to get business done. If we want to bring in anyone else, the transfer window will shut on September the 1st, bang, gone, and we'll have to use the squad that we have up until, of course, the January window. I'm quite happy with where the squad is at. It's certainly a lot better than what it was, a few weeks ago and even at the start of the transfer window, but we can't get complacent in saying because of a couple of good results that it's good to go for the season. I think Celtic still need a bit of reinforcement. There's certainly depth to be added in certain areas, and we can make this squad a hell of a lot better than it already is. Fair play to Ange for the couple of players that he's been directly involved with. Of course, the likes of Kyogo, Liela, Bada look to have been players he was speaking up a lot and highly involved with, and fair play to Don Mackay to an extent for getting players through the door so far, from McCarthy to Abada to Hart, everybody else and the rest of the board. But there still is criticisms there. Let's not get that twisted. I think that the board still need to go out and back Ange. They need to give him the squad that is going to carry him from now to the end of the season. We're still in a position where a couple of injuries could put us back to where we started, so there still is work to be done, and Ange needs players over the next week, and hopefully the board recognise that. And saying that, what positions do we need to improve? What areas should we be looking at? For me, there is 4 areas in particular we should be looking to sign a player in. Whether or not we'll get 4 players in the space of a week is another question entirely. I think it's a big ask to get 4 in. They might struggle to do so with so little time left, but that should be the aim, to improve all these areas and give us the best squad possible. What are those areas? Well, I think we still need another centre half. I think we need a left back, I think we need a left winger, and I think we need a striker, depending on what happens with Odsonne Edouard, and we'll come on to that. What we're going to do here in this video is run through 4 players who I'd like to see join the club this week in those 4 different areas. Some we've already spoke about, some you'll already know a lot about as well, but the whole point in the video is looking at 4 who could be the most likely. So let's do that. Let's start from the back and make our way forward and look at 4 players that I'd like to see come to Celtic this week. So start at the back, we're going to go with the centre half area, and we're going with Liam Scales, someone who we've not actually spoke about on this channel in great depth, but you've probably seen chat about all over the internet with a move looking even closer to Celtic. Apparently he could be joining within the next week, but I'm hoping that it is, rumours to believe. I'm hoping it's not just paper talk that we could be seeing like we do with many other players this season and over past seasons. If you don't know who Liam Scales is, currently plays over in the League of Ireland with Shamrock Rovers. Believe he's 21 years of age. Could be in the mix for his first ever call up to the senior Ireland squad, which is big for him, and I'm hearing awful good things about him. He's played mostly at centre back throughout his career, but a player who's also expandable enough to play on the left hand side of the defence, play at the left back area, which I believe he's been deployed in for Shamrock Rovers a number of times already this season and in recent times. So he's someone who can kind of cover both of those areas, but we're looking more at probably a centre half option, I think, for Celtic. Now, Liam Scales has been highly rated in the League of Ireland. He's apparently one of, if not the best player over there from what I'm hearing, and that's good because I think we've learned a lesson. A lot of people, I'm not saying I'm necessarily guilty of it, but I was guilty of it at a point. I'd done the same with Ange when I went to manager from over in the Japanese league. We've all kind of learned a lesson at judging these leagues and judging lesser leagues, and we can get genuine stars from them. We look at the start that number 1 Ange has had as manager. We look at the start Kyogo's had as a first team player for Celtic, and they have been absolutely brilliant. Liam Scales could offer the same thing. I think it'd be hard to justify judging him harshly. after, the way we've been proven wrong in recent times. So hopefully he's another option that comes over and surprises us if the move is as close as reported. There was Premier League interest there in the player too, which shows significant amounts of quality, I would say. Well, not significant amounts, but shows a sign of quality. And he's a good fix just now until Julian comes back. This is a young guy. It's not like he's going to come in and then we're never going to see him again when Julian's returning to the squad. No, he's going to have a future at Celtic, especially if he impresses in time he's given. But he's a good fix until Julian is back in the team. He gives us another option behind the likes of Welsh and Starfelt, because I don't want to see Beaton back in there. So Scales is someone I'm hoping is as close as being reported and could be in the door this week for Celtic. The second area was the one that's hardest to pin down an actual target that's realistic for Celtic, because there's been a real lack of talk in the left-back area as of late. Has Greg Taylor sort of grabbed that place and made it his for the rest of the season, potentially? But looking beyond Greg Taylor, we don't have many great established options. Bolly Bolingoli doesn't look as though he's going to get a look in the team ever again. I think his time at Celtic could be done. He's not been involved in the matchday squads or anything, so I don't know what the situation is with Bolingoli. We've not really had an update. Adam Montgomery's still a young guy developing. He's got a long way to go. I do like him and I hope he keeps getting chances, but it's once again, are you putting the reliance on these young guys when Greg Taylor drops off with an injury? Ultimately, I still feel like we could do a lot better than Greg Taylor, to be quite honest. I think we can get a better option than that. Josh Doig didn't happen. Aaron Hickey didn't happen. Those options look to be completely off the table for Celtic, which is understandable considering the fees being spoke about with them. So we need to look elsewhere. Massive shout out to Everything Celtic on Twitter, at About Celtic. Please make sure to go and follow the page. Great page. All coming up with targets all the time. I've kind of nicked one of his, but I'm going to give him all the credit for this. He's gave the suggestion of, let me just get the name right here. Where is it? Here we go. Fredrik Bjorkan of, I think it's Bodo in the Tippeligaen over in Norway. A young 22-year-old Norwegian international. He has been capped for the Norway team, who could be available to Celtic for such a cheap fee. His contract is up in December. We could sign him for free right now, hold off and bring him in January if you like, but I don't imagine that they can demand a substantial amount of money when his contract is up in December. It would appear to me the guy probably wants a move if he's not extending that contract that's up in a matter of 4 or 5 months. So there must be something there that suggests he wants a move. There's been nothing to suggest officially that he's linked with Celtic. Let's just clarify that. But he is someone who Celtic should maybe have on their radar and consider. We've had a lot of luck with Norwegian internationals as of late. He's someone who's clearly got some talent, and I think he's someone who could be a better option than Greg Taylor at that left-back role. For the very limited amount of names that are out there right now linked with Celtic, this guy looks like someone who I would like to see the club go for. On the left wing, it's Ryan McGinley's favourite player on earth, and he's probably never watched 90 minutes of him play. It's Christian Lovric, over in... Where is he playing again? Over in Croatia, playing for Gorica, I believe, or Gorica, playing for them just now. Someone who is just a quality looking football player. We've spoke about him so much in the podcast. I've not specifically done a kind of dedicated video to him or a transfer talk to him, but he has been brought up with Celtic a number of times. He's been at it on Instagram, he's been at it on social media, he's liking so many things to do with Celtic. The move looks as though it should be something that is set in stone, and Celtic should be going for to try and complete. This is a guy who I think can just add the same amount of quality we have on the right hand side just now with Abada to the left hand side of our team. Now McGinley would put it a lot better than me because he's been scouting the guy for weeks now, but he's got a goal and an assist in him basically every game. He looks a real danger. He's got a real attacking quality. He drives at defenders, but he has the capability to cut inside, have a shot with a real deadly and accurate shot too. It is basically, as I've just said, a kind of replica of Abada on the left-hand side. Now, if you imagine 2 Abadas in our team, one on the right, one on the left, I see no stopping our front three. Wee Kyogo in the middle, a wee Kyogo in the middle as well. I really don't see any stopping this. This is a move Celtic should really be trying to push for, and it has been brought up a number of times by different journalists and publications over the past few weeks, but I really want to see Celtic go for this one. The stumbling block may come down to transfer fees. He still has a couple of years left on his contract and is valued quite highly. Probably the club's best player, but if he's eager for a move, who knows? Celtic need to get the checkbook out and go for this one. I think it's one that I think eventually could happen over time. If it doesn't necessarily happen in this window, I don't think it could be ruled out for further windows. But if we got him in the next week and we managed to bring this guy into Celtic, which there's nothing to suggest that's going to really happen. It is all really putting two and two together and hoping for the best. But if we were to sign him over the next week, it would show I think out of everybody involved in this list, it would show the greatest sign of intent as to where the board envision us going this season. And it would give us the best possible chances of the best success this season, I think. And finally, the striker. Now, this is all dependent, I think, on Odsonne Edouard's situation at the club. We'll find out over the next week whether or not Edouard is going to stay or if he's going to leave. I think at the start of the window, we all thought Edouard would be gone, but here he is. He's still here. He's scoring goals. He does look interested in my eyes. So we don't really know. There's been no real sort of solid bids that are coming in nowadays. We've heard links with Brighton, we've heard links with Palace, but nothing has came of it. It looks to me that he might end up staying at the club, and if he does stay at the club, then maybe the need for a striker as of this moment can be put on the back burner for a little bit, because you've got Kyogo, you've got Edouard, you've got Ayeti, you've got forwards there that can make the difference this season. However, we should be preparing for Edouard leaving the club on the other hand. So do you then go out and say, yeah, we do need a striker? The guy that has obviously been linked with the club the most, we made a video about the other day. If you want to watch that, feel free. Is Georgios Giacomakis. I think that's it. Not quite nailed it yet. But if you want to hear more about him, make sure to check out my video the other day, but offers something completely different from what we have. And he was the top scorer in the Dutch Eredivisie last season. I feel like a player of great quality. Now, the big stumbling block with him is the move to Werder Bremen over in Germany that could be on the cards. It looks as though it's stalling. It looks as though Bremen don't have the financial capability to maybe get it over the line at the moment, which means that Celtic could now become his next and most plausible option. I think it would be a great signing once again for Celtic if we get it done. He offers that something a little bit different. And if Edouard does go, then it does look a necessary buy. So Celtic should be lining up something and having those conversations, which apparently they have had. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Is Nisbet a backup option after that? Maybe, but that has gone quiet. I think that's went cold turkey. So it looks as though big gorgeous Georgios might be the answer. And that does it. There we go. That's the 4 players that I would like to see potentially join Celtic over the next week, if 4 is possible. 4 might be getting too greedy, but it would make for some transfer window if we got them. I know last year we said on paper the transfer window was magical, it was amazing and all the rest of it, but this would truly make it a great window if we could get most of these guys through the door. Let me know what you think we need and what players tickle your fancy. If you've seen anybody, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.